Hello and welcome to Local Edition. I'm Leslie Leyton. The need for veterans returning from war, the current wars and the wars of all the years past have never been greater. And there's a local agency that's trying to meet those needs of those veterans. It's called Veterans First, and with us now is the director, Gunnery Sergeant Howard Raleigh. Thank you very much for being here.
Well, thank you for having me.
It seems like it would be very frustrating. There's so many deserving veterans in need of services that there would never be enough to help them, but you try to make this link. How do you do that?
Well, the biggest thing is just when the veterans come in, just trying to ensure that they get what they need. Through housing, employment, education. We just try to link them up with what services we have and whatever services are in the community that are available. And then from there, we get them on their way.
Mm-hmm. So. A lot of veterans returning must feel really lost coming back. They don't really know where to begin. So it seems like this would be a very good first step, a good resource.
Yeah, it is a very good resource. What happens is when they come back, the changes from being out in either wartime or even just being in the military period, what happens is it being a different culture, we try to go ahead and get them to come back and change over into the civilian sector as best as they can.
So you were in the Marines.
Yes.
For how many years?
20 years.
And what, in your rank?
I was a gunnery sergeant. Mm-hmm. I was there.
So you understand these returning vets. You understand them more than a lot of people. What do they tell you that they need the most, or is it as individual as each person who comes back?
Well, even though there's a lot of different people that have individual needs, I mean the biggest thing is housing, employment, and education, and that's what we try to take care of mostly.
What can you do to help them with housing?
Well, Veterans First itself, we have 8 facilities around the county, mm-hmm. and we try to go ahead and get guys housed into those facilities when they come back. And for those that we can't, for whatever reasons, we try to go ahead and get them into other facilities that perhaps either the VA or someone would help with.
Mm-hmm. So. And perhaps the awareness, people knowing that you need the housing, you can help make those connections as well.
Exactly.
Explain why a vet is a good employee, why you should hire a vet.
Well, one of the biggest things is the discipline. I mean, between the discipline and the training that they have, the leadership skills, all veterans that come out of the military have those skills that they're ingrained in them. So,
and 85% of the people who work with Veterans First, they are veterans, and a lot of them are volunteers. What do they supply in terms of being able to help others?
Well, the biggest thing is that they really understand veterans because they're veterans themselves. They've been there. So when they come in, they can understand all the needs and the frustration that these veterans feel coming to us to get help. So.
We hear stories about even the veterans' hospitals, and we see the gap in the need. What is it you would like people to know about what these veterans need and what people need to understand about their plight?
Well, I think the biggest thing people need to understand is that when they get back, I mean, really they're disconnected. And trying to plug them back into society is actually difficult because of the fact that they've got a different mindset when they get back. And if people could understand that when they come home and they've got no one to turn to, that they need to have that feeling of belonging by having the employment, the housing, the education that they didn't have beforehand. So.
I think people can't really begin to understand the trauma and the changes that happen in your brain just by being in those very violent and stressful situations.
That's true. There's a lot that takes place, and you figure at that age, because you're looking at the average people are usually 18 to 26 while they're in for the average ages, and at that age things are still formulating, still changing. A lot of them have just left home. Probably their first job or first time away from home. So it's really difficult to go through those changes in combat and then come back here and try to adapt. So.
Gunnery Sergeant Howard Raleigh doing some good work over at Veterans First. We appreciate you being here today.
Thank you.
All right, and thank you for joining us. I'm Leslie Leyton.